The Galapagos Islands. Remote, exotic, inspiring. Located 600 miles off the coast of Ecuador, the islands have spurred the imagination of many, including Charles Darwin. The islands provided the creative thrust for his now famous theory of evolution. Do you really know who Charles Darwin was and what he wrote? Have you heard of the missing evidence for his theory that he promised would soon be coming? 150 years later, has it arrived? We answer these questions from the Galapagos Islands, walk in the footsteps of Charles Darwin, and see where the evidence leads.
Well, this is where it all got started. 13 finches collected from these islands would years later set Charles Darwin's mind in motion about the origin of living things. We have come here to the Galapagos Islands in an effort to determine the truth, to find out about this man we call Charles Darwin and his theory.
Seeing this gradation and diversity of structure in one small, intimately related group of birds, one might really fancy that from an original paucity of birds in this archipelago, one species had been taken and modified for different ends.
The mainstream media has elevated this man to a status of God. We've come here to really evaluate the truth, to see who this man was, to bring him back down to earth in an effort to really get a view of what he believed, who he was, and what this theory means to mankind. He outlines 3 different things that he believes are the mechanism behind evolution: acquired characteristics, adaptation, and natural selection. I should also point out, in this same book, he has 2 chapters devoted to the fossil record. Now, one would think that this particular book would be full of examples that support his theory, and yet a close inspection of those 2 chapters, you realize that it's nothing more than a carefully worded apology in which Charles Darwin realizes the fossil record is paltry, but promises that those transitional fossils will be found in the future.
Geology assuredly does not reveal any such finely graduated organic chain, and this perhaps is the most obvious and gravest objection which can be urged against my theory. A large number of well-trained scientists outside of evolutionary biology and paleontology have unfortunately gotten the idea that the fossil record is far more Darwinian than it is. This probably comes from the oversimplification inevitable in secondary sources, low-level textbooks, semi-popular articles, and so on. Also, there is probably some wishful thinking involved. In the years after Darwin, his advocates hope to find predictable progressions. In general, these have not been found, yet the optimism has died hard, and some pure fantasy has crept into textbooks.